boy. Hi, I'm Justin Ernest. I play in a band called The Worst out of La Crosse, Wisconsin, and I also make music on my own, which I hope to share on this channel very soon. Today I just decided to talk about one of my guitars. This is a recent acquisition. I got this 2003 SG Standard from Andrew Rose of Midwest Voltage. It has a broken A string. I'm just gonna kind of talk about this guitar a little bit and clean it up a little bit and make sure that everything is all kinds of hunky-dory about it. This is an 03 SG Standard with the 490 and 498. I'm also going to take a sec and push this tailpiece down. I had originally raised this up off the body of the guitar, believing a YouTube video. It's a good theory, but that didn't really play out. I didn't see that playing out at all. The issues I see on this guitar are the short scale. I didn't realize before I bought this how short the scale of this neck was. And all my other guitars have always been a little bit longer. So I've always used gauge 9 strings. 9 to 42, I believe. And I was going to continue doing that on this guitar. But when I did that, I noticed that I was just pulling chords out of tune. I was just fretting notes and pulling the string inadvertently out of tune. So, or any notes, any chords and all that stuff. Super distracting. I didn't want to adjust my playing style for the guitar because I generally don't like to think about guitar when I'm playing. So for this one, I went up to 10s. And the tuning stability is there. It plays a little bit differently, obviously, with 10s. And I haven't really messed around with string gauges that much over the years. I used to play 10s forever. Then I went to 9s for whatever reason. I don't even remember. I just started buying them. And I realized when I played guitars with 10s on them that I generally didn't like them. And I generally was not playing really nice guitars like Gibsons. I've never really actually thought that I would own a Gibson. I always thought these were a little out of my range. But anyway, here it is. Andrew sold it to me for unbelievably low price. Otherwise I probably would not have an SG until I was, you know, super rich and famous. I believe this has the original tuners on it, which are nice. I've played Andrew's other SG. He's got a 60s, I believe it's a 65 SG Custom with replaced tuners. I don't remember what brand they are, but they are significantly heavier. And I noticed the headstock dive on it quite a bit. For anybody that doesn't know what I'm talking about, the body of an SG is relatively light when compared with the neck and headstock. The body is pretty thin, pretty small. This small body has a lower weight, so in a lot of SGs, the size of the headstock and the weight of the neck can outweigh the body and cause the body, when you're playing it, to dip like this. And I noticed that quite a bit on Andrew's 65, I'll call it, and it was a pain in the ass. I had to hold the neck up, and I didn't like that. So I'm glad this has the original tuners, which are, you know, not the sealed tuners or whatever, but they work great. And I think they look fine. I don't really care what guitars look like that much. I always really like the SG for the sound of it. There's a certain sound of an SG that you can't really get anywhere else, and I really like it. You can see Andrew took very good care of this guitar. It's pretty much immaculate. Now there's a few things about this guitar that have been altered, I believe, since it left the factory. First of all, these saddles are cut very strangely. I don't understand why they would be cut that way unless we just had somebody who didn't really know what they were doing do this work. Not that I know what I'm doing or would be able to do a better job than this. I don't do stuff that I don't know how to do for the most part, unless I'm like practicing on a piece of crap guitar that I own and I don't care what it looks like or ends up being like. But the cuts on this are insane. Check it out. That one, the low E one is like super deep and it's cut at an angle. Let's see. A couple of them have more than one cut. I don't understand it. I can't fathom why. And they're all like, they're not equidistant from each other. The ones with two cuts are not cut in the middle. It's super weird. The other alteration that was done to this guitar before Andrew got it was somebody had replaced the nut. And it looks like it's made out of a natural material. It looks like bone to me, but whoever cut it did not cut any sort of an angle into the end of it to account for the break angle of the string. That lack of an angle, it makes the string more likely to catch in the nut. The string can bind in the nut a little bit, and I try to account for that by putting a little bit of pencil lead in. I do this on all my guitars. The graphite will act as a lubricant to help the string pass over that point. This guitar, in a time where I'm not playing a lot of shows, I have decided that this is kind of going to be my worst guitar. When I'm making music on my own, I definitely kind of pay more attention to dynamics and differences in tonality in the instruments. But with the worst, we kind of just always are going. There's a lot of songs that I've written for the worst that started out pretty quiet, ended up pretty loud. It's fine. We are a loud band. Not the loudest, but we're not a quiet band. How's that? I will play it through my normal live little PV amp, just to kind of hear what the guitar sounds like. I think it has a little bit more output. It's nice and bright. It's crunchy. It drives the amp in a different, nicer way than any guitar that I've ever owned before. I adjusted the relief in the neck. I adjusted this bridge height. It sounds like the sound of the guitar is coming from the wood on this instrument to me. Not that I'm a physicist or whatever, that I would know how this stuff works, but I feel like I can hear the wood. Let's call it math. And I'm going to finish the setup. I'm going to adjust the intonation if I have to, and then I'll set up an amp and get a little bit of a sound sample going in here. I normally wouldn't use a condenser mic on a guitar cabinet, but that's just what I have set up. I actually have a release coming pretty soon as as I get some artwork done. A song called Lift Bridge. It is a song that I play with the worst. I have a different version that I play on my own, but I play the same riff. It's buzzing. I think somebody cut the nut a little bit too low. Here. Yeah, it's a crazy rattle. really nice for that. But it's got the definition to play major 7 chords. I think that just sounds great. A lot of the times when I play with the Worst, I play without a distortion pedal. So being able to have a good dirt setting that can play more complex, still have the nice pushed sound with the power chords. I still haven't figured out how to deal with a real Gibson in my hands. It's so different. It feels so delicate. Like every little piece of it is so, I don't know. I don't want to wreck it. That's how every time I pick this up, I'm like, I don't want to wreck it, because I've never had to give a shit about a guitar before. Thanks for watching. Don't tell your friends you listen to my music.